Hi everyone, welcome again to another episode of Ops Unscripted. I'm your host Timidayo, and I'm so glad to have you here with me today. Last week we started to discuss around survival skills for operations professionals. We touched on technology and automation fluency. We discussed risk management. We discussed change management. We discussed process improvement and data-driven decision making. Today, we're going to proceed and look at 5 more skills that you need as an operations professional. So, as an operations professional, you need to have a customer-centric mindset. What that means is that when designing your processes, you need to put your customers in mind, put the end users in mind. And the end user could be a customer, a client, a patient, or even an internal client, right, or an internal customer. But put them in mind when designing your processes. It means that you'll be empathetic, to be able to feel their pain. This will help you to design processes that really work, not what works for you, but what works for your customer. Because eventually, you're not the one using the processes. You're not the one enjoying the outputs of the value that you're trying to give. It is your customer. So this mindset is very critical. Have a customer-centric mindset. How can we make this process better for our customers? How can we ensure that waiting times are reduced? How can we reduce waiting times? How can we ensure that at this point, the customer does not have to take 6 different clicks to get to what they need to get to? Again, just thinking creatively around those things, but thinking with the user in mind. Another critical skill I think that every operations person needs is continuous improvement. And this is different from process improvement that we discussed last week. Continuous improvement is a mindset. It's a culture. And it's a culture that must trickle down the entire organization, but you must be the chief driver as an operations professional. Continuous improvement will mean that you're thinking, how can we make this? What can we do? Even for yourself personally, how can I become a better person? How can I carry my team along and make them better, right? Because the better exposure that you have, right, you're able to implement better processes, right? So you must take continuous improvement as critical. So it could be in certifications, it could be in courses, it could be in books, just taking the certification course, reading, ensuring that even as a person, you're intentional about your growth, right? And you'll be able to also communicate that down to your team. Another critical skill, and I think we touched on that the other time, is communication and collaboration. I think communication is by far one of the biggest skills that you need for anything in life, and it's even much more pronounced in operations. As an operations professional, you need to be able to communicate your processes to even non-operations people. You need to be able to speak the language that other people aside you and your team members can understand. You need to be able to collaborate with other team members, because we're working with many team members: accounting and finance, customer service, IT, tech. You'll be working with several other departments, and you need to be able to collaborate effectively, knowing that every single player is critical to your success. Another key is critical for operations professionals is financial acumen, and we don't get to talk about this enough. See, this is 2025. As an operations person, you need to be able to understand the numbers. You need to be able to know how the decisions you make or the decisions you're not making are impacting the bottom line. When you talk about cost effectiveness or new processes, how are they actually going to bring about cost effectiveness? You need to be able to understand the ROI of even the tools that are clamoring that you implement, right? You need to be able to speak in numbers. And this will also give you some credence before your finance team, for instance, because now they see that you actually understand. Many times we think the finance guys are always wanting to cut down the budget, they want to reduce costs, they want to cut costs and all of that. But when you begin to see things from their point of view as well, you'll be able to even explain and communicate why you need a new process, which maybe in the interim, or a new tool, which in the interim might cost a lot, but down the months or down the years, it actually would save the company a lot more. If you don't understand the numbers, you won't be able to communicate this effectively. So yes, even when you are right and you cannot communicate it in numbers, the changes you're trying to implement might not fly because you are not able to communicate it in numbers. So please understand the numbers. As operations professionals, one last skill, in my opinion, that I think is necessary for survival is emotional intelligence. Because, like we said in previous episodes, that operations, we are unsung heroes. When things go well, nobody sees you many times. But when things go wrong, everybody is calling your name. So it means that you have to be able to grow emotional intelligence. You have to develop that muscle, right? So that you're able to, under crisis, you're able to manage yourself, manage your emotions, and manage your team. You're able to encourage your team in the face of seeming discouragement. You're able to cheer along, you're able to resolve conflicts and get everybody to again speak the same language. You must learn to be emotionally intelligent as an operations professional. I hope that you have found the skills relevant. Which skill do you think, in your opinion, is the most important? And what are you going to be working on today? If you ask me, if you want to start with any of these skills, from the ones we discussed in the last episode until now, I would say that you start with these 4. Communication is very critical. Process improvement is very critical. Technology fluency is also very critical, and decision making. With these skills, we can start with these skills and then add on the rest as they come. I hope you found this episode insightful. I would like to hear from you. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, like, share, let somebody else who needs to see this, please send this to them, let them see it. Till next time, let's keep building.